You can never understand your finances fully or your investments fully unless you understand what is happening in the economy as a whole. Like what happened with the Silicon Valley Bank. Okay, so what happens is a bank is like a heart, that it takes money from the depositors, keeping a little bit with itself, so that because if you want to, as a depositor, anytime want to pull the money out, the rest of the money it gives to the companies as loans. Now, you've given a loan, that loan will keep coming over a period of time as EMIs. And that's why the bank has to do a lot of planning in terms of anything which is coming, how much to keep. And there are some norms around it, that how much liquidity should you have and how much can you lend. So here, the bank had invested in some debt instruments. And now because the market turned or whatever, the rates of interest went up, right? The bond rates of interest went up. So these people had bought bonds at a time when the rates were lower. Now, when the rates are higher, nobody wants to take the bond at a lower rate. If I want to sell my bond, why will anybody take a bond which is at a lower rate when there is a bond which is available at a higher rate of interest, right? So these bonds get marked down, in the sense that if 100 rupees is giving you 10%, now if I make the bond value 97, the 10% becomes 13%. So now the bond will not be sold at 100 rupees, it will be sold at 97 rupees to make it equal to that 13%, which is getting the market is current rate of interest is 13. So it reaches that. So what banks have to do is they have to mark to market. It's called mark to market. So they bring the 100 rupees to 97 in their own books, because if you want to trade it, then you will be only getting 97. But if you hold the bond to maturity, which means that I'm not going to sell it in the middle. So when that company is issued a bond, it has a maturity that, okay, 10 years later, you'll get your money back. 10 years later, you'll get your 100 rupees back. So it doesn't matter if I'm not planning to sell my bond, mark to market doesn't matter, because at the end of the maturity time, I will get my 100. It's only if I sell now, I'll get 97 because the rates are against me. But if I keep it till maturity, I will get my 100 back. So what happened was, the bank kept it, because it was not planning to sell its bonds. It did not mark to market its bond. It said, we are holding it to maturity. So the rates were at a particular level. Now, there is certain news which came. Now, some news happens which kind of triggers, if they actually mark to market it, it'll become a loss for the bank. Okay, so now this is a trigger news which happens. Now, when the rumor or the talk happens, it's not even a rumor, it's a real news, okay? That they haven't done a mark to market. So now what happens is, now the depositors have got worried about their money. So they want to withdraw their money, because we learned in FDs that the maximum in India is 5 lakhs. In US, the number is 250,000. That means that if the bank goes bust, the depositors, irrespective of whatever money they have, they will get $250,000 per person. Now, like I said, the bank is like a heart. You can pull out only 8 ounces of blood every day. But if you withdraw more than that, what will happen? You'll collapse. So now the depositors have withdrawn their money because they're now scared. Everybody's pulling their money out. So now what does it have to do? It has to sell those bonds at 97. So suddenly, a thing which is absolutely good, there's a little bit of a bad time which is happening, but it leads to a bank collapsing. And that's why a run on a bank is when all depositors together run to the bank and get their money back. Once the bank is gone bust, then everybody is in a soup. It's like a cascading effect downwards. Now, what is the effect of something like that happening on other banks? Now, people will start looking at banks a little more cautiously. Have you done a mark to market? Ripple effect which will happen, and you don't know where it will land. So what did UK do? So the government or the institutions or the central banks come in. And in UK, what they did was they told HSBC to buy over SVB. Wow. Silicon Valley Bank. So it calms the sentiments of the people. Then all these confidence building measures help depositors get confidence.